So today we're going to be starting up yet another interactive series where your guys' comments are featured in the video. These are some of my favorite videos to make, so I want to get as many going as I possibly can. I'm going to be reacting to your guys' hot takes about the 2021 NHL season. I probably won't do these as often as we do the other series where you guys kind of just ask me anything about the 2021 season, but I will probably aim for at least one of these a month. I made the post on the community tab yesterday, so there was a lot of time for you guys to get your comments in. As of the time I'm recording this video, there are 450 comments on that post. That is definitely the most comments I've gotten on a post for one of these interactive videos in a very long time, so thank you so much to everybody who went and left a comment. I usually only pick out 10 or 15, but since there were so many, I picked out 20 for this video. Now, one thing I do want to say before we get into the video, remember these are meant to be hot takes. You're all not going to agree with all the takes you see in this video, so before you go down to the comment section getting mad and ripping people up about what they said, remember these are supposed to be, a little bit controversial. And of course, before we begin, be sure to go follow my social medias like Instagram and Twitter. Links to those will be down below in the description. And most importantly, if this is your first time on the channel and you guys want more NHL content just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And now let's begin. So the first hot take of the video comes from Chase Beardsley, who says Jack Roslovic will be the best part of the whole Dubois-Laine trade. I mean, so far he definitely has been, although Dubois has only played 2 games with the Jets and Patrick Laine has only played 5 with the Blue Jackets, while Roslovic has already played 8 with the Blue Jackets. But after his multi-goal game last night against the Carolina Hurricanes, Roslovic now has 4 goals and 5 assists for 9 points in 8 games. He's over a point per game with the Jackets so far. This is definitely a really good sign for the Blue Jackets. Roslovic is still only 24 years old, and a lot of people, including myself, believed that if it were just a one-for-one swap, Dubois for Laine, that Columbus probably wins that trade. I think we can all agree that Laine has a higher ceiling than Dubois does, and now you factor in Roslovic and how well he's playing. If he keeps this up, this trade has the potential to turn out ridiculously good for the Blue Jackets. Now, I'm not saying I agree with your hot take. I find it really hard to believe that Roslovic will ever be a more valuable asset than Pierre-Luc Dubois or Patrick Laine, but he has been insanely good for the Blue Jackets so far, and I mean, you never know, right? You could be onto something here. Moving on now to the next hot take. This one comes from Burton. I don't even know how to say that name, but you guys can see it on the screen. Lafreniere won't stay on the Rangers roster this season, so I'm guessing you mean they send him down to the AHL. The AHL season has now finally gotten underway. The Hartford Wolfpack, which is the American Hockey League affiliate for the Rangers, have played their first game, and with the way Lafreniere has been struggling up until this point at the NHL level, I think the thought of sending him to the American Hockey League has definitely at least crossed the mind of the Rangers coach and general manager. You could send him down to the AHL, put him on the top line down there, put him on the first power play unit. Hopefully he'd put up some points and, build some confidence. I don't think that would be a bad idea, honestly. Now, if that were to happen, I don't think he'd be down there for the rest of the season. I feel like it would be a brief stint so he could, like I said, build some confidence, and then maybe the Rangers would call him back up. Now, the biggest reason why I think they would do it like that is because the Rangers have already burned the first year of Lafreniere's entry-level contract, so then if they just send him to the AHL for the rest of the season, that first year would have kind of been a waste. But Rangers fans especially, let me know what you think about this situation. Do you think they should just keep Lafreniere up in the NHL for the rest of the season, or maybe do you think he should have a brief stint in the American Hockey League? Next up, this one comes from Bergie Burge, who says, soon there will be an award for the player that gets the most assists in a season. I like this idea, honestly. Don't really know why they don't have one. They have an award for the player who scores the most goals in a season, so why not show some love to the person who sets up the most goals in a season? Do I think they'll do it? Probably not, but I'd like them to. Moving along now, this one comes from Carter Craig, who says, Cup winner is in the North Division and Canada ends their Cup drought. I really hope so. I'm saying that because I know the Red Wings aren't going to be in the Stanley Cup conversation at all, so I would like to see a Canadian team win it for the first time in my life. It's pretty crazy that it's been that long, and I mean, the Leafs are looking like an absolute juggernaut right now, so you never know, this hot take could definitely come true. From Samuel Paradis, the Red Wings will have luck in the lottery and have the first overall pick. Just basing things off the Red Wings' luck, it will be this year that they get the first overall pick, because the 2021 draft, there are like 8 guys that could go first overall. The likelihood of the first overall pick being the best player from the 2021 draft, I feel like is pretty low compared to other drafts. And also, I seen that the NHL were contemplating changing how the draft lottery works. Elliot Friedman put out a pretty interesting article today. One thing I've seen a lot of people talking about is that the NHL could look to make it so a team can't finish in the top 3 of a lottery 2 drafts in in a row. I swear if they okay that and then Detroit say gets the first overall pick in the 21 draft and then we can't even get into the top 3 for the 2022 draft when Shane Wright's available, I will snap. Next up from Patrick Newman, the Blackhawks squeak into the playoffs as the 4th seed in the Central Division. I will admit that the Blackhawks have absolutely proved me wrong, at least up until this point. Before the season started, I predicted the Blackhawks to finish last place in the entire league, especially after the Jonathan Toews news and the Kirby Dach news. But as of right now, they actually sit 5th place in the Central Division with a 6-5-4 record. They are over 500. Their stars are playing like stars. DeBrincat, Kane, Kubalik have all been fantastic. And then there's a bunch of rookies playing amazing for the Hawks. Suter, Kurashev, and Kevin Lankinen, who's been fantastic. The Blackhawks have been a really cool story so far. I still don't think they're going to make the playoffs. They'd have to beat out a pretty good team in order to do that, but I think they will definitely be a lot closer than I expected them to be heading into the season. Moving along now from Tom Boomer, Tortorella will get fired for benching everyone in brackets. I don't think so. Tortorella's contract is up at the end of this season anyway, so I think if they didn't want him anymore, they'll probably just let him finish out his contract and then not re-sign him. And when it comes to him benching everybody, Pierre-Luc Dubois deserved to be benched when he got benched. He wasn't trying. And then the other day when Tortorella benched Patrick Laine, originally I thought it was just based off of Laine's play and performance, so I was really against that. I thought it was a pretty dumb move by Tortorella, especially for a guy you're trying to impress and trying to make want to sign a long-term extension there. But then it came out that the reason he was benched was because Patrick Laine actually got into a verbal altercation with one of the assistant coaches, so you can't really blame Tortorella for benching Patrick Laine with that being the case. Moving along now from Josiah, the Canucks step back this year puts them behind Ottawa on a rebuild timeline. This is definitely a very, very hot take. I'm gonna go ahead right away and disagree with you on that. 100% it has been a miserable season for the Canucks, and it seems to just get worse and worse as the days go by, but I don't think that their rebuild is like behind Ottawa's. I don't think they're that bad off. Moving on now, we have another one regarding the Canucks from IceT. Elias Pettersson will end up with around 50 points despite the rocky start. As of right now, in 17 games, Pettersson has 12 points. I think he's capable of hitting 50 this season for sure. Even though the Canucks haven't turned their season around yet, Pettersson has definitely started to produce more. This is a guy who scored up around a point per game in each of his first 2 seasons, so I don't see why he can't do it again. From Dan Everett, Jack Eichel is completely checked out and no longer wishes to play for the Buffalo Sabres. This is a hot take where I can't really agree or disagree because nobody really knows. No one knows what's going on inside Jack Eichel's head. I will say that through the 10 games he's played so far this season, he hasn't looked like the Jack Eichel of last season, and when you consider how miserable the Sabres team has been every year since Eichel has been drafted, I honestly would not be surprised if this is true. Moving on now from Rise of Sugars, Carter Hart is painfully average and fell victim to overhype. Carter Hart has definitely been disappointing, in my opinion at least, to start the season. He was in the video I made on the most disappointing players from the season so far. In his defense, the Flyers' defense isn't really the greatest, but I predicted him to win the Vezina heading into the season, and it's not looking like that's gonna happen. Now, I definitely don't think Carter Hart is painfully average, though. He's only played 9 games this season. That's a pretty small sample size, and I feel like we shouldn't just forget about everything he's done up until this point. He had a great rookie season, was fantastic last year as a sophomore, and was a beast in the 2020 playoffs. Maybe if he doesn't get it together for the rest of this season, and then that bleeds into the following season, then you can start to have that conversation, but I feel like right now it's definitely too early. Next up from Joseph Zeta, the Florida Panthers will finish with a top 2 spot in the Central Division. I had them initially 4th/5th in that division. I also did. I think I predicted them to finish 5th heading into the season, so I didn't have them making the playoffs. My reasoning for that was because it seems like the past couple of seasons prior to this one, I always predicted them to make it, and they never did. And then, of course, the one season I don't predict them to make it, they go ahead and do this. With their win over the Tampa Bay Lightning last night, they have an 8-1-2 record. They're 2nd in the division, but if you go by points percentage, I think they're actually in 1st. Extremely impressive start. They're a team I didn't really know what to expect from heading into the season because they just had so many new players, but the majority of their new players have been playing incredible. So yeah, it is definitely a real possibility that they could finish in one of the top 2 spots in the Central. I don't think it's going to be easy because Tampa Bay and Carolina are still very good, but it is definitely possible. Next up, we have another one related to the Panthers from Carter Craig. Verhaeghe keeps up the scoring pace and gets top 15 in scoring this year. So as of right now, he has 7 goals in 11 games, which puts him tied for 11th in league scoring with a bunch of other guys. You know, I thought by now he would have slowed down a little bit, but he just hasn't yet. So I'm going to go ahead and agree with you on this one. I'll make this hot take with you. I think Verhaeghe will finish top 15 in the league in scoring this year, especially if he stays healthy and stays on that top line with Barkov. They definitely have cooled down. They've lost their past 2 games now, one to the Oilers and then one to the Maple Leafs. I do still believe in the Canadiens though. I still think they're the second best team in the North Division behind the Maple Leafs. Things are pretty close right now though. 2nd place and 5th place are separated by just 3 points, so if this losing streak for Montreal continues, then maybe I'll get a little bit worried. Moving on now, we have another Montreal hot take here from JTube, who says Jake Allen is better than Price and will take his number 1 spot. Jake Allen has definitely been better than Price up until this point this season. This is a possibility. I mean, we saw last year Jake Allen really outplayed Jordan Binnington throughout the entire season. Never really took that starting job from him in the regular season, but then he wound up doing it in the playoffs. So maybe we see a similar situation to that happen this year with the Canadiens. I feel like as long as Price is competent, he's probably going to get more starts than Allen in the regular season. But if this trend keeps up, maybe come playoff time that changes. Moving along now, this hot take comes from Eliminator, who says Markstrom wins the Selke after years of getting overlooked. I'm sort of rooting for him to win it this year. I feel like he probably should have won it back in 2019 when Ryan O'Reilly won it. When you look at the past Selke Trophy winners, it's very clear that it usually goes to a centerman. It's a lot harder for a winger to win the award. The last winger to win it was back in 2003. It was Yuri Lettinen. So it would be pretty nice to see the award go to a winger for once, since it hasn't happened since 2003, and I definitely think Markstrom deserves it. He's a absolute two-way beast. Moving on now from Patrick Lindfors, the Pens get rid of Malkin before his contract ends. So in my last video I made talking about some players who I think will likely be traded in 2021, I had Chris Letang in that video. With new management in Pittsburgh, I think they are going to do something to put their stamp on this team and help them set up better for the future, because they don't really have a lot of younger assets moving forward. Their prospect pool is pretty weak. I still find it really hard to believe that they'd ever trade one of Malkin or Crosby, but out of those two guys, I think Malkin would definitely be the one to go, so you never know, this could happen. Me personally, I'd like to see it happen. I mean, it would be chaos. From Roy Mella, Quinn Hughes leads defenseman in scoring, but also has the worst plus-minus in the league after the regular season. Has that ever happened? Probably not. I think right now Quinn Hughes is tied for the worst plus-minus in the league with Eric Goodbranson. I don't think Quinn Hughes ends up with the worst plus-minus in the league at the end of the season, though. I really still feel like Vancouver is going to at least turn their season around a little bit. Up until this point, they've just been getting shelled at 5-on-5, and I think that's why his plus-minus isn't good. But yeah, I think Eric Goodbranson probably has a better chance of finishing with the worst plus-minus in the league than Quinn Hughes does. And now for the final hot take of the video from Captain Derpy, Jacob Markstrom is going to be a Vezina finalist and take Calgary past the first round. If the season were to end today, Jacob Markstrom would be in the conversation for the Vezina Trophy. He's been fantastic for the Flames. He's already played 11 games, has a 7-3-1 record, a .921 save percentage. I said this a few times in videos after Markstrom signed with the Flames, but this is the best goaltender Calgary has had since Mika Kiprasov. If Markstrom keeps this up for the remainder of the season, he's 100% going to get Vezina consideration. As far as taking them past the first round in the playoffs, well, they got to get there first. Actually, I lied. There's one more from Alex Flynn, who says Keandre Miller is gonna be to the Rangers what Jacob Slavin is to the Hurricanes. I actually really like this comparison. Keandre Miller has been a fantastic, complete defenseman for the Rangers so far this season. He's definitely been a silver lining for them in a season that hasn't really been the greatest. I really like the comparison of him to Jacob Slavin, because I don't really think Keandre Miller is ever gonna be the type of defenseman to put up like 50 points in an 82-game season, but like 30 to 35 points and just a beast defensively. I think that's what he's going to be, and that's sort of what Jacob Slavin is. So that is going to do it for today's video. I really hope you guys did enjoy. Like I said at the start of the video, thank you so much to everybody who went and left a comment on the post. I really wish I could feature them all. If you guys enjoyed this and you do want to see one of these, maybe, you know, once a month or something, be sure to let me know down below in the comment section. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave it a like. That is the best way to show your support. And most importantly, if this is your first time on the channel and you guys want to see more NHL content just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will talk to you all in the next video.